Hi guys, this is a video about assembling this Huffy 26-inch Rock Creek Man's 18-speed mountain bike. As you can tell, this came in brand new. I got it for $108 from Walmart, and I'll be putting it together, and you guys can take a view of what's going on. So this is the box right now. This is the box it came in. Came in this Huffy box. These are the contents of the box. So it's the bike, one semi-assembled. You have your saddle right there. Put that there, and then you got the rest of the bike with the zip ties on it still. Most of the bike is assembled. All you have to do is put the tire on, put the saddle on the whole, install the saddle, and then install the rest of the body, the rest of the handlebar. But it's pretty simple. So I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out of the bag, pull it out of the box, and you guys can watch how simple this is. All right, now that it's out of the box, this is what you have. You have your front tire right here, and these cover-ups that you can pull off, and basically cut off all of the excess stuff which comes off. But this is pretty much the entire bike. So I'm gonna pull the zip ties off, and you guys can get an idea. All right, so now that everything is out of the box, this is what you have: your tire, your front tire, the entire body of the bike, and your pedals. And these are the tools I'm using. Very basic. You don't need anything complicated, and the work begins. Alright guys, so there's a couple ways that most people do this. You can either start with a saddle, stick it in here, and then tied it with this little tight screw that already comes pre-installed. So get your saddle, put it in there. And all you have to do is tighten this to keep it in place. So the saddle is pretty simple. So I'll do that, put it in place, and then move on to the handlebar. The handlebar is a little tricky because you have to pull this plastic off. And then you have to use a flat screw, the special screws, Allen wrench, I believe, to open that. I didn't have an Allen wrench, so I just went ahead and was resourceful with my collection of tools. But Allen wrenches are easy to find in the store. Just pick out one. I just used one of these Allen wrench type ends from my tool set, and I have this other box with me. Okay, so the work begins. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the saddle, and then finish that up, then move to the handlebar. So I got the saddle to the right height that I'm looking for. Of course, I'll adjust this with time. One of the things about this tricky is when you're tightening this thing turns while you tighten that. So one thing I had to do was get a set of pliers and hold that in place while I was turning the knob, so they wouldn't just keep turning and not tighten. Now we come to the handlebar. This plastic is rather hard to pull. It's not something that you can just, sometimes you can just tilt it until it comes off. Sometimes you might need to get a piece of pliers and just yank it out. This one was pretty easy. This is the thing that keeps your handlebar in place. So you want to go ahead and decide on how high you want your handlebar is, but so be careful with this. This is the thing that ends up tightening your handlebar. So as you can see, there's a technique here that being held by this Allen wrench type of screw is what will hold your handlebar to the rest of the body. One thing that you have to bear in mind is when you're setting up this, you want to make sure that where these brakes are, the brakes have to face the front. So make sure this handlebar is back here, and then make sure that the brakes are facing forward. So you gotta make sure that the brakes are facing forward. If they're not facing forward, what's gonna happen is your tire is gonna hit the pedals. So you have to make sure that brakes forward in front of the handlebar. So when you put your handlebar in here, when you put your handlebar in there, it's gonna look something of this sort. Handlebar is there, facing front, brakes facing front as well, not back. If they face back, what's gonna happen is the wheel, the front tire, is gonna hit the pedals, and you don't want that. That's a recipe for disaster. Okay, so we get the brakes in front, we've got the handlebar facing the right way, so we're gonna tighten this handlebar using Allen wrench. Another thing to keep in mind is when you're getting ready to tighten the handlebar, make sure it's aligned correctly. Make sure it's aligned correctly. So the handlebar is in line with the body and with the forks that are going to hold on to the tire. So this is my Allen wrench screw, and I'm just putting my legs in between and I tighten. Make sure it's straight. Now to install the front tire, obviously first thing you want to do is, right now the brakes are tightened, so you have to unhook that, loosen it, put the tire in between. Comes with this little cover protection. All you have to do is hold the bike up and pull this down, and it's gonna get dislocated. I had a hard time pulling it out the first time, so I had a little hammer that I used and just held the bike up and then hit it out of position. Once you have everything taken care of from the tire side, the spokes, just grab your tire. Comes tightened, so you're gonna have to loose this and put these little forks in between these bolts. So you have to open these up, unscrew them. They're not tightly screwed on, so you can easily use your hand. And then once that's done, put the tire in between these little spokes. Make sure this little piece is on the outside and not in the inside. It's another caveat that you want to keep an eye on. Pretty easy from here on. Once the tire is on, go ahead and tighten the bolts. And make sure those are tight. Obviously you don't want to use your fingers to tighten these, but you want to make sure that they are tight. Whatever tool you use, you could use a pliers, a wrench, and so on and so forth. So now here, remember I unsnapped this. So now that my tire is in place, I can put this little thing back. You can simply click it. You can simply click it back in place to make sure that this piece goes behind that, and that should look something like that. So front tire is securely installed and brakes back in place, And now it's time for the pedals. Time to install the pedals. The pedals are, as you can tell, they're not in place yet. So go to your honey box that comes with your bike, and there's the set of pedals. It's good to this is one thing that I thought the instructions were useful for, is because depending on which pedal you're installing, whether it's the left or right one, you have to turn the pedal, or when you're screwing either with a wrench or whatever you're using, because it's going to fit in here. If it's a left pedal, you have to screw it counterclockwise. So counterclockwise. If it's the right pedal, which is on the other side of the bike, you're gonna go clockwise, like normal screwing in afar. So remember, left pedal counterclockwise to screw it in, right pedal clockwise. So I was able to screw the pedals in just using my hand, but obviously to get them tighter, you want to use one of your tools, either a pliers or a wrench. So here we are. So the bike looks good. Everything is in place. I think like a good 30 minutes to assemble this, probably less. Just make sure the bolts are tied in. You have to be tight, and then the long last piece is this little wire that goes on the back, and it goes in place right there behind the chain. So I will install this and we should be in a good place. But right now this bike is ready to be ridden, and it only took under about 20 minutes. Good investment. As you can see, the chain protector is in place. All I have to do now is tighten it. It's fairly simple. This is the last step on the bike setup, and my bike is ready. It's good to go. Like I said, for safety measures, make sure everything is tightened, make sure the reflectors are in place. The only other place you want to look at is gear shifting, the gears, the brakes. Depending on how you want them up here, want them down here. And once you decide on that, then you can tighten the screw here. Same thing for your other brakes. Decide where you want them to be, and then tighten the screw. All right. Thank you everyone for watching, and best of luck with your mountain bikes.